I'm Dr. Sapna Katyar, Professor in ECE Department at ABES Institute of Technology, Ghaziabad. This is lecture number 11 of subject electronic devices. The subject code is KEC 301. You know that the subject is introduced for the students of second year ECE, EI, IC and related branches. So, in previous lectures, I have discussed about the semiconductors, crystal lattice, how to calculate the electron and hole concentration, what is Fermi level, what is Fermi direct distribution. So, all of these things we have discussed in the previous video lecture. Today's topic is conductivity and mobility. You know about the term conductivity, but how to relate the conductivity and mobility, how to derive the mathematical expression via which you can calculate if required some numerical values. At the same time, you must be able to define what is conductivity, what is mobility. So, here let us discuss some of the important terms in the beginning. See, what are these terms? What is conductivity? Conductivity defines a material's ability to conduct electricity. This point is very basic and you know that. Means if you are saying a material is a good conductor, means it is having a capability to conduct electricity. You have studied conductors, semiconductors, insulators, and you know that the conductivity of conductors is very high in comparison to the semiconductors and insulators. Even in the case of the insulators, you can calculate, you can explain what is the conductivity, why it is known as a insulator. So, conductivity, you know, there are several factors. One of them is the temperature, which has a large effect on the conductivity. So, upon increasing temperature, conductivity increases, and how to explain it. And besides temperature, there are certain other factors as well. Resistivity is the reciprocal of the conductivity. Reciprocal of the conductivity means if conductivity is high, resistivity will be low, means this is a inversely proportional. If resistivity is low, the conductivity will be high. It means if you are saying that conductors, the conductivity of conductors is high, it means their resistivity is low. At the same time, if you are talking about the insulators, its conductivity is low among all these three, conductors, semiconductors and insulators. So, its conductivity is low, it means resistivity is high. Conductivity is low and you can write down resistivity is high. So, next point, a material with high conductivity has low resistivity and material with high resistance is by definition a poor conductor. It means insulators which are having a very high resistivity, they are the poor conductors. Now, there is a term mobility. See, what is this mobility? This term you generally use, you commonly use in your daily life. Sometimes you used to say that person is very mobile or this particular thing is very mobile. It means there is something which is related to the movements, which is something related to the motions. So, mobility, this is a measure of how quickly an electron can move through a metal or semiconductor in the presence of the electric field, how quickly it moves. So, it means when we are talking about the solid, the charge carriers within a solid, these charge carriers may be electrons and holes, it means we are talking about how quickly these charge carriers move. Semiconductor mobility depends on the impurity concentration. As I have told you that there are various factors upon which this conductivity and mobility depends. So, the semiconductor mobility, it depends on the impurity concentrations, defect concentrations, temperature, electron and hole concentrations, which are the charge carriers. So, these are the important factors upon which the mobility of a semiconductor depends. You must remember all of these points. See, charge carriers in a solid are in constant motion even at the thermal equilibrium. So, if you talk about the thermal equilibrium condition also, it means the charge carriers are moving. They are not in the stationary position. So, when the charge carriers are in constant motion, even at room temperature, the thermal motion of an individual electron may be visualized as random scattering, and this scattering happens because of the lattice vibrations. So, see, you can assume one electron is available over there, and because of this thermal motion, thermal random scattering, that particular electron is moving randomly in the any direction. So, that is the you can visualize the movement of one electron, single electron. But actually in case of solid, you cannot assume that there is a single electron, there are a number of electrons. So, in that particular case, you have to assume it for a group. If you are talking in terms of electrons, means a group of n electrons. So, you can see over here, this is the thermal motion of electron in a solid where a single electron is being shown over here, and because of the random scattering vibrations, lattice vibrations, this particular electron is moving. You can see the direction is in this direction, then it is moving in this direction like this. This is how this electron is randomly moving, and finally this point is being shown over here. Just what is the starting point, what is the next particular possible point. So, this is how you can visualize how an individual electron is moving. Now, you can assume in that particular case, if a number of electrons exist over there, then how they will be actually behaving. Let us say if this is the applied electric field Ex and force exerted on the electron, you can calculate. See, if electric field is in this particular direction, the movements is being shown in this particular direction. And what is Vx over here? Vx is the velocity component along the x axis. So, q into Ex, since we are talking about the electrons and the charge on the electron is what? This is minus q. So, this particular term is what? Minus q into Ex. So, this is how you can represent its behavior, its motion under the condition of applied electric field. So, this is going to be helpful for explaining and for understanding what is mobility, how to calculate its particular term. Now, you can see, since scattering is random, as I have told you that electrons are moving randomly in all the directions. Since scattering is random, means there is no net motion of the group. You cannot evaluate how a particular group is moving. One electron is moving like in this way, other is moving in this way, other is moving in this way. So, how to calculate, how to evaluate, how to identify what is the particular direction in which this net group is moving at any particular instant of time? This would be very difficult. It means, but this is not true for the individual electron. I have shown you in the diagram in the earlier case. If you are considering the individual electron, it would be very easy. It would be very easy to identify, to calculate what is its direction at any instant of time. But for a group, it is not possible. So, you must remember both of these points. Then, if you are saying if the electric field Ex is applied, X shows the electric field is in the x direction, and each electron experiences a net force. What is the force the electron will experience? The force will be, since we are talking about the electron, charge on the electron is minus q into Ex is the applied electric field. So, this is nothing but the minus q into Ex. But the net motion of the group is in the minus x direction overall, because if the applied electric field is in the x direction, the movement of electrons, the net motion will be in minus x direction. And let us talk about the momentum. You know that the momentum is denoted by P. So if you are talking about the x component of the momentum, it means we are talking about px. So px is the x component of a momentum for a particular group. Here we are talking about a group which is moving along the x-axis and px is the momentum along the x-axis. So in this particular case, force in the field for n electrons, because here we are talking about the group of n electrons per centimeter cube. So what is this? Because see, here you have written for 1 electron. So when you are talking about the n electron, so in this particular case for n electrons, this particular equation will be minus n q into Ex. So this is how you have written minus n q into Ex is equal to what? D of px upon dt. Px is the momentum, p is the momentum, you can say it's along the x-axis, that is why you have written px, and it is variable with respect to the time. So d px upon dt with respect to the field. So this is how you can equate the force which is being acting on a group of n electrons. Now net acceleration is just balanced in steady state by deceleration of the collision process. See, when the electrons are moving randomly, there must be some collision. So here at the steady state, what will happen? At steady state, net acceleration will be equal to the deceleration. So both the term will balance out. It means now to find the total rate of momentum change, because you are going to calculate it with respect to the variation for the time, let us consider a group of n naught electrons, and to initiate it with at time t it is equal to 0, and it is defined as n of t. Why n of t? This is as the number of electrons that have not, this is important, that have not undergone a collision process. See, some of the electrons will collide and some of the electrons will be left over here. So here we are talking about that number of electrons which have not gone under the collision process. It means the rate of decrease in NT, since there is a decrease, it means when you are writing the mathematical equation, you have to apply negative sign, there is a decrease. At any time t is directly proportional to the number of electrons left unscattered. It means what? Rate of decrease in NT, this is nothing but d upon d of NT. Decrease, since there is a decrease, this is, it is directly proportional to the number of electrons left unscattered. Now you have to introduce a proportionality constant for this. So 1 upon t bar, this is the proportionality constant in this particular equation. Let us say this is the equation number 2. See, 1 upon t bar is the constant of proportionality, and if you simplify this equation number 2, you will be getting a solution of this as an exponential function, and the solution can be written as what? N of t is equal to n naught e raised to the power minus t upon t bar. E raised to the power minus t upon t bar, and this term is very important. T bar is the mean free time between the events, mean free time between the scattering events. So this is how you can write down the solution of equation number 2. Now the probability that any electron has a collision in time interval dt, if this particular term for the probability is dt upon t bar, therefore differential change in px due to the collision in time, differential change in px due to the collision in time, the time interval is being taken as dt. How this differential change can be written, how to calculate it? This is what? dpx is equal to minus px dt upon t bar. See, this is the collision time interval. You can see dt upon t bar is the time interval, and differential change, or alternatively you can write it as what? dpx upon dt, that is what? Nothing but the px upon t bar. So, this is how you can write it down over here. See, collision, it means rate of change of px due to the decelerating effect of collision. So, from here you have written, you can write down this particular equation, dt you can take it on the left hand side. So, this is what? Minus px upon t bar. This is the rate of change due to the decelerating effect. So, this is how you have written it over here. Now, in this particular case, as I have told you, for steady state, the sum of the acceleration and deceleration means whatever the acceleration is being done, at the same rate deceleration will be done. It means at steady state the sum of these two will be 0, because these two are going to balance out each other. It means from here you have written, this is the term for the deceleration, minus px upon t bar plus sum of the acceleration. This particular term acceleration you have written into this form. Acceleration we have calculated for a group of n electrons. Single electron is like finding a force or feeling a force minus q ex, and a group of n electrons n times q into ex. So, this is equal to 0, and this deceleration you have written it into this particular form. This is being calculated over here, and acceleration in the previous case. So, I hope till this particular point it must be clear to you how to write down this particular equation. Now, if you have to calculate the average momentum, see, if you are calculating the momentum for a group of n electrons, so if you have to calculate the average momentum, means for each and individual electron what it would be? Px divided by n, and this bracket actually indicates the average case, average momentum you can calculate. So, what would be Px upon n? Px upon n you can calculate from this particular equation. See, from here you can write what? Minus P of x is equal to T bar n q E x. So, from here this is T bar, Px upon n is nothing but q T bar upon q T bar into E x. So, from this particular equation you have calculated the average momentum per electron. I hope this point is also clear to you. Now, if you have to calculate average net velocity, see, now we are talking about the velocity, average net velocity, average because we are taking. So, this particular bracket is being again introduced, average Vx in between this bracket shows the average net velocity. Now, this is what? Average momentum per individual electron, which is Px upon Mn star. Here this Mn is effective mass of electrons, and this is what? Divide this particular term with Mn. So, you will be getting this particular equation. This is Qt bar Ex upon Mn. You must remember that this Mn is nothing but the effective mass of electrons, which is different from the rest mass. This is not the same as the case of the rest mass. Now, actually individual electron move in many directions because of the thermal motion. Because of thermal motion, individual electron move in many directions. As I have shown you, if the electron has started from this point, it may move in this direction, then in this, then in this. So, it can move in any of the direction. It means now we can calculate the current density. See, you know that the current density is denoted by J. Current density because of net drift. When we are talking about the entire term, the whole term, what is the net drift? This is equal to the number of electrons crossing a unit area per unit. Number of electrons crossing a unit area per unit. Number of electrons is denoted by n. Crossing a unit area per unit means average Vx. So, Vx means in between this particular bracket, into charge on the electron. What is the charge on the electron? Charge on the electron is minus q. See, you must remember it, since this, though this is a very basic thing, but sometimes you may feel why to write the sign over here. In case you are missing the sign, there will be a mistake in the deriving the whole equation. So, Jx is what? N Vx into q along with minus sign. So, you have written Jx is nothing but minus q n into Vx. Now, from previous equation, you can write down the value of this Vx. So, this particular term would be what? N q square T bar Ex upon Mn. Here you have substituted the value of Vx from the previous equation. So, this is how you have written the mathematical expression for the current density. Now, current density is proportional to the electric field. Since current density is proportional to the electric field, J is proportional to electric field, which is E, and when you have to introduce a constant for proportionality, then the term of this conductivity occur over here. It means Jx is what? This term for the conductivity into Ex. If you compare this equation with equation number 8, now you will be able to find out the term for this particular case. What would be the term for this particular case? Here this is nothing but n q square T bar upon Mn. So, this is how you have calculated it with the help of this particular equation, right? Just you have compared both the terms and accordingly you have written it over here. Now, conductivity can be written as what? See, conductivity, the formula for the conductivity is Qn into mu n. Now, you can compare this equation with this equation of conductivity and you can write down, see, Qn into mu n. So, if you are comparing this equation with this, you will be able to write down the term for mu n, which is nothing but Q T bar upon Mn. So, this is how you can calculate the term for the mobility. I hope mu n is the mobility of the electron. So, in this particular way you can write it down. Now, mobility can be expressed as the average particle drift velocity per unit field. So, what is mobility? Average Vx upon Ex minus Vx upon Ex, and the unit of mobility, you must remember, the unit of mobility is nothing but centimeter square per volt second. This is the unit over here. Now, relation between the current density and mobility, you know that what is the Jx? Jx is nothing but Qn mu n into Ex. This is the case when only electrons is being considered. So, if you are going to consider both electrons and holes, then this particular equation can be written as what? Qn mu n into Ex, this is for the electrons, plus Qp mu p into Ex, which is for the holes. It means Jx is what? N mu n plus p mu p into Ex. This is how you can calculate it. Now, let us discuss some of the examples based on this conductivity, mobility, how to calculate the values over here. See, the first question is mobility for electrons and holes in a sample of intrinsic germanium. See, here we are talking about the pure semiconductor. Intrinsic germanium at room temperatures are 0.36 and 0.17 meters square per volt second. If the electron and hole densities are equal, which is given to 2.5 into 10 raised to the power 19 meter cube, calculate the resistivity of the germanium. So, how to calculate the resistivity? You know that the conductivity and resistivity are inversely proportional. So, first let us calculate the conductivity and then you will be able to calculate the resistivity. 1 upon conductivity will gives you the value of resistivity. See, formula which is to be used, which is what? Conductivity for the intrinsic germanium. This is nothing but Q into Ni mu n plus mu p. Mu n is the like mobility for the electrons and mu p is the mobility for the holes. In this particular question, it is being given that electron and hole densities are each equal. Ni is given as 2.5 into 10 raised to the power 19. Mu n is 0.36. Mu p is 0.17. Q you already know, which is 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19. Substitute all these values into this particular formula. So, this will be nothing but 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19 into Ni is 2.5 into 10 raised to the power 19 into mu n, which is 0.36 plus mu p, which is 0.17. Multiply it, you will be able to get this particular value. Simplify it, you will be getting this as 2.12 Siemens per meter. And if you are going to calculate resistivity, this is nothing but 1 upon conductivity. So, it would be what? 0.47 ohm meter. So, this is how you can calculate the conductivity, mobility and all the things, whatever is being given in the question. I hope this particular question will be clear to you. Let us discuss one more question. See, first you have to read the question very carefully. Determine the density of impurity atoms that must be added to the intrinsic silicon. That must be added to the intrinsic silicon crystal to convert it to the 10 raised to the power minus 4 ohm meter N type silicon, and other is for 10 raised to the power minus 4 P type silicon. So, here you have to calculate how much density is to be added to the pure intrinsic semiconductor crystal. And given that the electron and hole mobilities, both the electron and hole mobilities have been given in this particular question. Now, calculate density of impurity atoms. See, a pure semiconductor is being given to you. You are adding some impurities to make it impure. So, now the first case is N type. So, for N type silicon, conductivity is what? Qn into mu n, and here N is what? N is the density of donor atoms over here. So, you can substitute this term. At the same time, this 1 upon resistivity, this is equal to Q Nd into mu n. So, from here you can calculate the value of Nd, which is nothing but 1 upon rho n Q into mu n. All these values you know. Now, if you are going to calculate for the P type, second case B, this is the first case. So, in that particular case, for holes, you will be writing it as Qp into mu p. Here also you can write down P is what? The density of the acceptor atoms over here. So, accordingly you can calculate the density of acceptor atoms, which is nothing but the its resistivity into Q into mu p. Charge you know, mu n and mu p is being given. This is mu n, this is mu p. At the same time, 10 raised to the power minus 4 is the like it's being added. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope the concept is very much clear to you. Thank you once again.